Hello, my name is Warren Emley. I'm a past president of the Rotary Club of Concord, and I'm here today with my partner Ginny, who is our current Rotary Club president, and we'd like to tell you about a special celebration of our club, our 100th anniversary. Our club was founded in 1922, so we're a little bit late, but here we are. So to start us off, I'd like to turn this over to Ginny, our president. So what do we know, Ginny?
I'm very excited to announce that we are celebrating our 100th anniversary by giving away $100,000. So we will have in attendance at our celebration 2 nonprofits, each of which are getting a check for $50,000. Our celebration is actually at the Grapponi Conference Center, April 18th, which is a Tuesday evening, with a cocktail party at 5:30, dinner at 6:30, and all the awards later on. We're also having a presentation on our club's history that will be presented by, I believe, our longest standing Rotary member, Dr. Wilson, and I think his number of years of service with our club is now 53. So I'm anxious to hear what he has to say. We'll have all sorts of club history on display, including the club charter, which was, we were actually chartered on December 15th of 1922. We were club number 1,293 in the world, and now there are over 46,000 clubs worldwide. So we were pretty new to the game, but we've done a lot in the community since then too. One of the things that I enjoyed finding in our archives was a picture of a Rotary Club meeting on the top of the gas holder in 1925. That picture is also going to be on display. I understand it was 172 steps up in order to get to the top of the gas holder to have that Rotary meeting. So all sorts of interesting things for us to take a look at while we're there.
Well, I wonder what the business was that was so important to happen on the top of the gas holder. We'd like to spend a moment to talk about Rotary and that we still are a presence in town and throughout the world, even though, like a lot of service clubs, our numbers have come down membership-wise, but we still have a very active program in what we do. So what do we do? I think the best way to summarize it is what you see on our poster. We are all about service above self. Rotary is not at all politically active. It doesn't have any religious component to it. There's no secret motto, there's no secret handshake, but it's a collection of people who want to do good in the community, and there are so many ways to be of service to others. So Ginny, why don't you start us off and we can reiterate some of the things that our club is active with.
On an annual basis, we actually give away quite a lot of money to local area nonprofits. It's in the tens of thousands of dollars. So we wait for nonprofits to come to ask us for money, but they tend to be organizations where we can provide sometimes scholarships, camperships. My favorite project since I've been a member was the project that we did on Pearly Street with what's now Waypoint. It was Child and Family Services, now Waypoint. We helped Waypoint purchase a duplex on Pearly Street, and then Rotarians and some of the youth who were going to be moving into that home actually did the renovation on the home. But the Transitional Living Program is a place for youth who have aged out of the foster care system, but they're not old enough to live on their own yet. So that's why they call it the Transitional Living Program. And it truly was one of the favorite things that I ever did with Rotary, because I was literally standing next to some of the youth and painting and carrying on conversations with these young people who were going to be living in the home. One of the things that I learned in preparation for our 100th anniversary is that single property, they don't have the records to take us all the way back to 2003 when we first did the project, but since 2015, that home has served 45 youth. So it's a great thing for us to do for the community, and it's one of the things I'm the most proud of.
So our club has not only been hands-on with paintbrushes and hammers and so on with building projects, but also with some financial contributions to similar structures around town. One that comes to my mind is the Green Street residence that the Concord Coalition to End Homelessness built several years ago. And so we partnered with other organizations to support that financially. Also, the headquarters for CCEH at the old, I call it the Fredenberg facility on Main Street now. So we were participants with that. Some other things that we've done around town and still do, we take our turn at the Friendly Kitchen serving meals. There are several parks around the city of Concord, Rotary parks, that we clean twice a year. Clean the brush out, rake the leaves, and spruce them up for the appearance. We have participated in some things. Wheelchair basketball team we have.
Hoops on
to
wheels.
support the fundraiser for Granite State Independent Living. We walk in the Christmas parade downtown up Loudon Road. One of our recent community outreach projects has been to sponsor, along with the Payson Center, sunscreen at all of our city swimming pools to help prevent excess sun exposure and prevent melanomas and skin cancers to the extent that we can. We also helped put in a watering station at the Terrell Dog Park Station so that people going down there and walking their dogs, and their dogs, they're all tired and thirsty, actually can reach down and lick up some nice clean water. Rotary put in that water system. So around town we've done stuff over the years, and it's still going on these days.
So one of my favorite things is the four-way test speech contest that we run every year. As you know, Rotary has this motto where we, of the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Well, in the high school level, many of the high schools are having public speaking classes anyway, so some of the high schools have actually taken up that Rotary test and incorporated it into their speaking classroom. But we actually sponsor a speech contest where the young men and women in the high schools actually apply that four-way test to some subject. We've heard things in our most recent one. The one that comes to mind is there was a young man talking about artificial intelligence and whether that met the four-way test. So some very interesting speeches. We actually give away some pretty decent prizes, and then we send our first, second, and third place contestants on to the semifinals, and we actually have 3 going on to the finals this year, so very exciting.
That four-way test speech contest is wonderful on so many levels, and you've touched on them. The winners, there are 3, get cash prizes. It helps kids to synthesize their thoughts in a presentable way, and they can actually get some practice with public speaking.
Right.
I mean, when you're talking to your cell phone, it doesn't talk back, so that's not really conversation. You're not really having to convince anybody of anything, but I think it gives great practice for these students. It's a wonderful forum for that. Not only the students, but all the Rotarians who get to hear these kids speak, and their parents and their teachers and neighbors really learn what's going on with this generation. So on so many levels, that's a great thing that Rotary does and that our club has been proponing for years. You mentioned earlier that we also give scholarships, $45,000 in scholarships for kids going on to college or to preparatory school of some sort. That happens every year. We also have Interact clubs at Bishop Brady and Concord High School, which are like high school Rotary clubs to introduce kids to this concept of what Rotary is all about. I remember once we sponsored also a group coming in from out of town called Improbable Players. This was a group of contemporaneous people, teenagers, 20-year-olds, who actually put on a stage play at Concord High School talking about the risks of starting to use drugs. Now, if you or I went up to some kid and said, you shouldn't use this drug, they'd say, yeah, yeah. But when it's put on by contemporaries in a very real setting, there wasn't a word spoken by any of the students in the auditorium. It was very effective.
Means a whole
So
lot
I
more.
was happy that we could do that, and we'll look forward to doing something like that again. But so we do have a strong youth outreach with our club.
So every once in a while, I'm asked why I joined Rotary. And I'll ask you in just a minute. I'll tell my story first. I first joined Rotary when I went to the Concord Club as a visitor of another Rotarian, and I saw a presentation on the Polio Plus program. That was back in, I'm dating myself here. Rotary had a desire to eradicate polio from the face of the earth by the year 2000. And I was so moved by that presentation that I just had to get involved locally. So what's your story? Why did you join Rotary?
I joined Rotary because I, as a physician, had my life up to here with everything I could do while I was working. But I still wanted to be a part of this community in a non-doctoring way to sort of do what I could to foster good things. My father was a Rotarian, so I knew about Rotary. He spoke highly of it. And so I sought the Rotary Club out after I retired. And so I've been a member now for some 16 years, so it's been great. But I really wanted to serve in so many ways that as a single person, you can't accomplish nearly as much as you can if you have others of like-minded purpose and you get out there and you can get stuff done. And with some financial backing that our Treasury supports.
Actually, that's how Rotary got started. It was a group of people who sat around and had lunch together. There was a plumber, a builder, I mean the trades, the professions, and they all got together to figure out what needed to be done in the community, and they went out and got it done with all the right people. So,
Ginny, you touched on polio, and I just wanted to expand on that a little bit because it is the major effort of Rotary International, of which, of course, each separate club is part. Rotary International has expended more than $2 billion, with a B, dollars, in terms of trying to eradicate polio throughout the world. The effort started in 1985 using the Sabin vaccine, which is the under-the-tongue stuff, not the shots. You can't go to a third world country and come in with a needle and sell your program. And so this really has gained worldwide acceptance now. And polio throughout the world is now 99.8% eradicated, wild polio. There are still a tiny bit in two countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan. And the difficulties there are in the delivery of the vaccine. Because we look like Westerners, and even though we recruit local people to go in to do it, there's still some doubt about this is a Western-inspired thing, and it's not safe, so don't do it. So that's been a real hill to climb.
yes.
But Rotary's not given up. Bill Gates Foundation has been very generous and has matched Rotary's contributions dollar for dollar. And so it's really been an amazing effort and highly successful. And it's not over yet, but we keep plugging away.
Right.
A question comes up, well, what if there's a sudden unexpected opportunity? What can Rotary do? Are we nimble enough of a club to do this? And I would just like to point out our experience when COVID came.
That's
What
right.
did we do? What did we do locally with COVID? And maybe you want to start us off, or I can. But
Well, first of all, like everyone else, we went into sort of a lockdown, but we immediately went to Zoom meetings for our own club meetings. But one of the things that happened in our community, as well as all around us, was kids weren't going to school, and parents weren't going to work because their kids weren't in school. So one of the things that we funded through 4 different organizations was virtual classrooms. So the kids who were old enough could go to like the Boys and Girls Club or Second Start and zoom in on their classroom and have adult supervision. That also meant mom and dad could go back to work, and that was a huge thing. So we're nimble enough to turn on a dime when we need to.
yeah.
So,
In terms of the epidemic itself, or the pandemic, I remember we paired up with Alex Ray of Common Man restaurant fame, who was actually also a Rotarian, who somehow got his hand on some masks. This was very early in the epidemic, much before vaccines and all the things we knew about it. The only thing we knew about it is if we could mask up, we might not breathe our COVID germs on each other. And I remember going down to the Common Man parking lot and having cars drive through, and we would hand masks to them and to the people in the cars and show them how to tie them on, and that was our first thing with masks. And then Rotary found somebody that produced masks en masse. And so we at Concord Rotary distributed over 20,000 masks in the greater Concord area. I remember taking them to Second Start, to the Boys and Girls Club, to the retirement communities, to nursing homes, to CRVNA, to the Coalition to End Homelessness. We put actually boxes of masks in all these places early on, and this is before the shots. Mm-hmm. So we jumped on it. We also gave out grocery store vouchers to people who couldn't shop. You know, the stores weren't open.
That's right.
And people couldn't get groceries, so we took food to their houses. We gave meal tickets through the VNA.
We also helped with the Friendly Kitchen. When they were delivering meals, we gave them quite a lot of money to help with their meals program too.
Yeah. And then there were great first responders who, in those early days, had to go to an emergency in somebody's home if somebody had a cardiac arrest or something, having no idea whether that victim had COVID or not. Mm-hmm. And so putting themselves at risk going into some house. So we provided for them reusable filters for their self-contained breathing apparatus masks, so they could put those on before they would go into somebody's house and thereby avoid possible exposure.
Right.
That was for our first responders in the fire department, and boy, didn't they do a job for us. They were so good, and still are.
One of the other things that we've been doing in the last 4 or 5 years is our flags program, where we're putting American flags all over the city. You can drive down South Street. I know there are some in your neighborhood also. Yeah. Just American flag after American flag, and it really does make for an impressive display on our holidays from May to probably October, if I'm correct.
Yeah. 5 holidays through those summer months. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Memorial Day, July 4th, Labor Day, Flag Day, and Veterans Day. Yep. We put the flags in the yards.
So for $50, you can get an American flag in the front of your house all summer long.
Just go on our website and click on flags, and we can put you on our schedule and get some flags in your yard.
And speaking of our website, if people want to buy tickets or register for our 100th anniversary dinner, which again is April 18th, they can go to our website, concordnhrotary.org. You can register to attend the 100th anniversary right there. If you're more interested in the flag program, click on the flag program. So.
Yep. So why are we Rotarians, Ginny, you and I? We sort of touched on that now and then, but I guess for me it's been a very gratifying experience. And as you get older, you sort of pick and choose what you can do if you got some free time. And I've been always really satisfied and happy about being a Rotarian. Our meetings, they're fun. They're not all business. We like each other.
We do have
a good time. We tell jokes, we sing, we have all kinds of great stuff going on. And our meetings are educational. Virtually every meeting, we have a guest speaker who comes in and educates us about something going on in the community or a business or something or other that, gee, I heard about that, but I never knew what it was, and now I know.
That's
and
right.
This is all part of just coming to meetings.
And just last week, we had a program on Honduras. We have been, over the last 30 years, our Rotary District and a Rotary District in Honduras have worked 22 of the last 30 years to put together a group to go to Honduras to do either dental care, build schools, build water sanitization things. So it's wonderful. So the number of reasons that people join Rotary really varies from person to person.
Our district, our Rotary district, paired up with Rotary clubs in Ukraine and Poland and raised funds from members and others and sent money over so that right away, just as this was getting started, It provided evacuation of some of the families and the kids to safer places in Poland and that sort of thing. And the value of doing that through Rotary, as I saw it, was that I knew that the money I sent was actually going to go to another Rotary club who lives by the same principles and knows how to get stuff done on a local basis. It's not like sending it off to wherever else. Help the Ukrainians. Who knows where that money goes? I don't know about that organization, whether it exists. But my point is that that's one of the ways that Rotary internationally is so effective, is you can count on the quality and the motivation of Rotarians around the world to carry out what they say they're going to do. Yep. So I remember, we're talking about international. I just got to say this. In 2009, I remember our club sent over 1,000 pair of underwear to an orphanage in St. Petersburg, Russia. Russia had lots of orphan males in those days, maybe still does. And they provided those kids, we found out through one of our members, 1 pair of undershorts per year.
Wow.
Now, whether they washed them or not, who knows? One would say, well, when they washed them, what'd they wear? Now, not to get into that discussion, but anyway, so we sent over 1,000 pair of undershorts, and then followed that up with a bunch of T-shirts with lots of American logos on them as well. They like that as well. But there you go. That was connecting with the St. Petersburg, Russia Rotary Club that we did that. Membership in Rotary is a voluntary thing. Anybody, any adult, can join Rotary Club if they want to. If you look at the picture of the original Concord Rotarians in 1922, they were all men, and that was pretty typical in those days. But our club now, what, 30% of us are women,
yes,
or at least.
Yeah.
And that's, we love women in our club. They are the Energizer bunnies. They have the good ideas. They put men in their place. Men, you still got a place. But the point is that there is no restriction based on gender or race or anything at all. It really is, if you want to give back to your community in a way that is effective and fun, following service above self, consider Rotary Club. You can go on the Rotary Club website. It's got a click on, say, I'd like to join, or I'm interested maybe. Click that on and you get some information, and the process can go on from there.
We had a board meeting yesterday morning. One of our board members described Rotary as the one-stop shop for community giving. Okay, so to recap, 100th anniversary celebration for Rotary Club of Concord, New Hampshire. We're celebrating our 100th anniversary by giving away $100,000. I'm proud of that. We worked really hard to pick the organizations that will spread this money out even further, which is one of the things that Rotary likes to do. The event is Tuesday night, April 18th at the Grapponi Conference Center. Cocktails start at 5:30, dinner at 6:30. Our district governor, who is coming in from Vermont, will actually be there as well. We're hoping for some dignitaries from Concord to join us. We will also have the 20-minute presentation by Dr. Wilson on our club's history, which is where we're going to display fun things like the charter, the photo of the club meeting at the top of the gas holder. There was a visit by the founder of Rotary back in, I want to say, 1930-ish, if I remember the photo correctly. Paul Harris visited our club, and we have a picture of that too. So all kinds of fun stuff that we'll be taking a look at, and it'll all be spread out for everyone to see at the Grapponi Center. So should be a lot of fun. People want tickets or to reserve a spot, they can go onto the Rotary website, which is concordnhrotary.org. Click on register for the 100th anniversary celebration, and we'll see you there.